give you one more idea on this sort of inspiration series before we get back to the office and settle into the real nuts and bolts of my writing tips for you. Um, I call this one the idea shelf, and different writers have different kind of terminology for it, but the idea is pretty similar. It comes along with the idea that what did Hemingway say? The first draft of everything is shit, and writing is easy. You just sit down and write until you bleed. The common theme and ideology, the thinking behind all of this, is that great writing takes practice and grit. It doesn't come naturally. Now, some writers, you could say, have a gift for words, and they're quicker on their feet to come up with a great phrase. But that doesn't always work for them. I heard a wonderful story from a UCLA filmmaking, script writing, screenwriting teacher who said that one of their students, who was the most gifted, had a really hard time with revision because, unlike many students, their first draft wasn't too bad. And by the second and third draft, sometimes it was even pretty good. But the difference between pretty good and great was a layer of dedication that was beyond them, because in their life they had never had to write something more than 2 or 3 revisions, and everyone said, wow, this is really great. So when it came to polishing a script to perfection, line by line, note by note, to a symphony, to the ear, they didn't have the patience for it. They just couldn't do it. And in fact, it was actually like their natural gift for writing and their inability to get that last 5 or 10% really kind of worked against them. Whereas what you could say a lesser gifted writer, someone who really had to put the blood and sweat in to get their lines looking half good, well, they were used to it not coming easily. They were used to it being difficult. And as a response to that, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 revisions, no problem, it gets to a point, and you might think, really, 30 or 40 revisions? That seems excessive. Well, yeah, for a high school essay, 2 or 3, 4, maybe enough, for a thesis, for some publications, maybe 5 or 10 might be okay, generally. For a movie that gets greenlit, like a real art film or feature film with good writing, some people say 70. Some very famous and renowned screenwriters have said every line in every scene they've been over 70 times. Chisha, gender, 70 times to really actually nail down every beat, every nuance, to try a line so many different ways, and to feel the weight of this way, the weight of that way, that every beat, every moment, every turn, every mood is the most concise, hard-boiled, efficient as possible. And it's really just a matter of patience. So when it comes to writing, whether it comes to coming up with a grand premise and concept for a book, a story, a movie, this kind of thing, a poem, a painting, a song, any creative endeavor, or more of the nuts and bolts of a particular scene, how to flesh out a scene and make it work, I call it an idea shelf. Now, you can choose an arm, right or left, depending. But let's say I'm going to choose over my right shoulder. I'm going to use my left hand, my creative hand. And I'm going to say that over my right shoulder is an invisible shelf. And on this shelf is where I keep my ideas. And when a writer is trying to think of a solution to a problem, or even a premise, a log line to a novel, imagine I have to reach over my shoulder and withdraw one, and another, and another. Can you picture that? Can you imagine that? What does this mean? Well, the idea is that when you draw upon your first solution to a problem or your first idea, it may sound like something you read in a book. It may become directly from a movie that impressed you, whether it's recent or even from your subconscious mind, a movie from your childhood. It's quite common for the first 1 to 5 ideas to basically be your mind ripping off something great that you saw recently, to draw inspiration from the things that mean a lot to you, momentous things. After that, maybe idea 6 to 10 are your baby ideas. They might be original, but they might be terrible because you're stepping away from well-formed ideas that don't belong to you to baby ideas that are yours, but are very weak, unformed, maybe are not very good. But finally, maybe after 5 or 10 of your own ideas, maybe by the time you get to idea 10, idea 15, or idea 20, you've pulled enough off the shelf that you're not recounting books and movies you've read, and your ideas are not the first kind of things that come to mind. Maybe then you're drawing deep enough into the well of your mind, if you want to use the analogy of a deep well, or if you're looking at the idea shelf, you're not taking the ones that have been spoiled by the sunlight. You're going back. You know, in this hot summer day when you open the fridge, you go into a shop, and the first couple bottles of water are not cold; they've just been put in there, and you got to reach back. The real cold ones are the ones that have been there for a while, and they're chilling. They're chilling out. They're quite cold. This is the kind of idea. This is the kind of thinking about your own idea shelf. So you wanna pull enough off the shelf to get rid of all the ones that aren't yours, and to get rid of all the weak ones. And eventually you're going to get something substantial and unique and good that's yours. Now, whether that's, a basic idea, a log line for a story, a what-if question to start proposing, to think about dreaming up a novel or a movie or something like that, or whether it's how to solve your protagonist's climax in the third act, or a particular solution for dialogues and the beats of a dinner scene conversation. No matter what it is, you're drawing ideas out of your well, your esoteric well of lore, or in this case, the analogy of the idea shelf. You're just picking things off the shelf until you get something really good, and then that's the one you're going to use. Does that make sense? So hopefully it does. You can hit me with comments in the bottom. Let me know what you think. But the common theme with creative writing is to not generally be satisfied with the first or second thing that comes through your head. It may be great, it may be inspired, but at least it should be refined. And it may be something that's just right out of a movie you just saw when you fell asleep last night, or something from your childhood that meant a lot to you. And that's great. You can riff on that as an inspiration, but you should keep working with it until it's genuinely yours and it's original and you've got your own twist, and you've either subverted the tropes and expectations, or you really made them your own, doing something new and original that hasn't been seen before. And that's going to be where you get your own creative power from. So don't be satisfied with the first bottles out of the fridge. Get the real nice cold ones that have been chilling in the back for a while, and that's how you get some really good ideas. All right? Okay, that's it for this video and for my time in Sanya. These sort of inspirational videos are now going to maybe take a turn when I get back into the office for more, maybe more nuts and bolts, maybe more practical. But it's important to think big and be a visionary and be creative. So never stop dreaming. All right? If wishes were fishes, there'd be oceans of dreams. Oceans of dreams.
Amos the Amazing, coming October the 31st,